Hello, friend, and welcome to another episode of PSA for Black Men. Today, I want to share with you something very important. There's a reason I'm sitting here. One of the points I want to make for you today is that it's important to try and get into whatever is comfortable and normal for you. For me, it's being at home with my music, but there's two things that have happened the last couple of days that kind of throws everything for a loop. It threw me for a loop. First thing, which was really a good thing, was that I had my catheter removed. Yay! So I'm a little more mobile, right? Remember that catheter? Oh my gosh, the worst part of the whole thing for me is the catheter, 10 days of it. And having it removed was a little bit of a process. Again, having to drive almost 4 hours to get there and have it removed. And it's not just a matter of them just pulling it out, believe it or not. You got to pass a test, right? You got to pass what I call the tinkle test. You got to pass the tinkle test. So what they do in removing the catheter is that they inject through the catheter some solution, water or saline, I'm not sure exactly what it's made of, similar to what the doctor did when I went into the emergency room last week this time, almost a week ago today. But the nurse injected a measure of liquid, and as they pulled the catheter out, they wanted to make sure that I could pee that much liquid into a container, which has measurements on it. And if you cannot get all of that liquid out of you, you fail the test. And the catheter has to go back in because they have to figure out why you aren't expelling the urine from your bladder. And so this is, something I thought was going to be very easy and celebratory, turned into a very challenging and stressful moment because it took the nurse about 20 minutes to go through all that. She left the room and she injected the fluid into the catheter, into my bladder, and then removed the catheter. And certainly I had no control right away. It was just like a newborn baby, like a baby, baby boy. You're trying to change the diaper, you open the diaper and it goes everywhere. That's what was happening. Not a pretty sight. But got the container in place and expelled as much of the fluid as I could into the container. The nurse left the room and said, "I'll come back and see how well you've done." When she came back, I wasn't sure if I had really expelled it all. I wasn't sure how much she put in. So I'm looking around for the big syringe that she used to put it in there. And it looked like it was like 200 milliliters that she had put in there. And I'm reading the markings on the container, and it's about 200. I said, I think I've got about exactly what she put in. And she walks in right away and she says, "You passed." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She says, "You've got 200. I only put in 100. Oh, so I expelled some of what was already in my bladder, along with the 100 milliliters of what she had put in. So thank gosh, I passed, did not have to put that catheter back in. However, there was I have to take antibiotics that morning and yesterday evening to ensure that there's no infection. And it did burn when I urinated at the nurse's office. Could have been the UTI, urinary tract infection, but it's still waiting for that to go away. I still have a little of that, even though I've taken some antibiotics, but I think it's going to be okay. And then I had to drink tons of water, hang around the hospital for, she said a couple of hours, and go to the bathroom a couple of times to make sure that I could do this on my own. If I could not tinkle on my own, then we would have a problem. I would have to come back in. So my problem wasn't tinkling on my own. That I could do. Getting it to stop, that's the challenge. And that's why I was telling you last time that doing your Kegels is very important, because you have to have that control. Anyway, so that's what happened there. Okay, very quickly about what happened today. This morning I got up and, oh, by the way, I put a little pad in my underwear, just in case I can't control it, and sleeping with, just on the ready for anything, right? So I'm prepared for anything. But last night actually went fairly well. I got up twice, which was a different sensation than the last 10 days because I had not been getting up. You remember when you have that bag and the catheter in, you don't have to get up. You just lay there and you don't even know that you're going. But you get the sensation, as you do in the middle of the night, that you have to go. And so having to get up and then move gingerly, not wanting it to erupt on its own because the control isn't quite there. So that was a little bit of a challenge last night. But first time, much more of a challenge. The second time I got up 2 hours after the first time and had much more control, and it went well. And today I'm having a tremendous amount of control and expelling when I want to expel. It's not perfect yet, but it just gives you an idea that 24 hours after the catheter was removed, I'm feeling very, very comfortable with this whole issue right now. There's still the swelling, however. Remember the swelling? I was going to show you an example of what that looks like, but I won't. Certainly, I wasn't going to show you me, but I was going to show you, put a piece of fruit inside of a jock strap or something, so you could see what it actually looks like when I have that on. I'm walking. It's a sight to be seen. You don't want to be seen in public like that. You'll get a lot of stares. So I've been in the house mainly. But this morning I got a call. This is going to be a little bit longer video because there's a very personal thing that happened today. Got a call from my step nephew. I just call him nephew. I don't call him step nephew. I say step nephew so that you understand the family relation. My mother remarried to a man who had kids, and so I have step brothers and step sisters. And my step sister passed away last year. Her son called me today. We've been trying to connect with each other for the last few years. And he called me today to say that his uncle, my stepsister's brother, which is my stepbrother, hope you're following the family tree here. My stepbrother passed away last weekend. Now, if you remember last weekend, that was my birthday weekend where I was told that I had a little more cancer in the lymph nodes, and cancer don't care if it's my birthday. Obviously, cancer don't care because my cancer took my brother as well. Yes, he died of, you got it, prostate cancer. It was the cancer that took over parts of his body, and he did not survive. I did not know he had prostate cancer. I wish I were in closer touch with him over the years. I might have been able to at least talk with him and maybe help, and maybe we would have found it earlier. That's why it's important for you. Brother, I'm telling you, it's important for you. Get your PSA checked now. Find it early. Now, I found it, I think, early, but I still don't know if I'm going to wind up like my stepbrother. I don't know that yet. But I'm doing everything I can, and that's what you have to do. When you find it early, you do everything you can. You get the best care that you can, and you take every precaution you can. So that was a really jarring news this morning. When will this end? When will this end? I don't want to know when. I just want it to continue moving forward and ending the negative stuff and getting back to what? To what's normal, right? Get back to what's normal. And so what's been happening over the last 10 days or more for me is that nothing's been normal. I haven't played the piano in 2 weeks. The drums, of course, I haven't paid bills. There you go, that's a big one. I know that's gonna affect everybody. I haven't paid bills. I gotta spend the day climbing through a stack of mail, going online and checking everything and making sure that I'm up to date and current on everything. So this little background is just to encourage you to try to get to a place of normal in the process of all of this as quickly as you can so that you can continue to live your life. You know, they say that prostate cancer is not a death sentence. So don't act like you're dying. Don't act like you're dead. Life is still good. Life is amazing. And I'm so very grateful I get to be here. I'm so grateful that I'm living this wonderful life. I'm so sorry about my brother, and I'm torn up about it. You know, they tell you that it runs in the family, but don't let that be an excuse for you if it's not running in your family, because guess what? That was my stepbrother. It wasn't my blood brother. So family has nothing to do with that. Cancer don't care. CDC, cancer don't care. All right, so I'm gonna stop yelling at you. I'm just somewhat emotional today and passionate about this, and it's giving me a sense of wonder that we get to be here, and gratitude and appreciation for everything. I appreciate my nephew for calling me this morning. He didn't have to call me. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he called me. The love of family and people around you, so important during this time. So important all the time. So absolutely, stay connected to the people that love you. Stay connected to family and friends, and try to be as normal as you can through all the abnormality that's taking place. And when you do that, then it'll be I'll just call it a more acceptable, easier, comfortable process. There's nothing really easy or comfortable about it, but the acceptance of it allows you to move forward as well with a level of hope and gratitude. All right, that's my message. And that's what's been happening. There's more, obviously. Every day seems to bring another chapter, and I'll share that with you when it happens. All right, until then, remain grateful. Give when you can. Love yourself. Then choose. All right, we'll talk to you again later. Take care.